Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking second baseman in 2023. This is my official 2023 second base rankings. So without further ado, let us get into it. We start off with number 30 in 3, in 2, in 1. Number 30, Christian Arroyo of the Boston Red Sox. Christian Arroyo just didn't do very much last year at all. 66 games, a 240 batting average. He hits 3 home runs, 16 doubles, 24 runs batted in, and a 637 OPS. Arroyo just didn't do much. He had a couple of injuries. He was benched at one point for guys like Kike Hernandez, Trevor Story. He wasn't getting much playing time and just not very good. So moving on, number 29, Colton Wong of the Seattle Mariners. Colton Wong, Colton was brought in to be their starting second baseman and it just didn't work out. He was terrible. Any semblance of the word terrible. He ends up hitting 183 last season. Actually, with Seattle, he hit 165. He went to the Dodgers at the end of the year and hit 300 in 20 games for them. But with the Mariners, he only manages 32 hits in 67 games, 6 doubles, 2 home runs, 19 runs batted in, only a 227 slugging, and an OPS, a brutal OPS of 468. That is just terrible. So Colton Wong, he's number 29. Number 28, we've got Harold Castro of the Colorado Rockies. The picture is with the Tigers, but last season he was with the Colorado Rockies. He had 252 in 99 games, but besides the batting average, not a lot to offer. Just 1 home run, 13 doubles. Solid defensively, scores 24 runs, 31 runs batted in. He's a guy who can hit ninth in your lineup and play solid second base defensively, but he's not a star by any means of the word. And number 27, the Los Angeles Dodgers second baseman, Miguel Vargas. Miguel Vargas was a really hyped up prospect, and to be fair, he's still young. He's only 24 years old, so he could definitely find his way to be able to be a starter at another position. But right now, the Dodgers are saying Mookie Betts is going to replace him next season, and with Max Muncy at third, Miguel Vargas looks like he'll be more of a utility role next year with the Dodgers. But last season, 81 games, scores 36 times, knocks in 32, 7 homers, 15 doubles, and just a 195 batting average. So solid pop out of his bat, plays good defense. He's pretty versatile in the sense that he can play all around the infield. He plays in first base, second base, third base, shortstop. So he's a guy who can fill in. If the Dodgers, if somebody gets hurt, if Muncy or if Mookie Betts or Gavin Lux, whoever gets hurt for them, they're very comfortable using Miguel Vargas as a replacement guy. He can fill in, but he's not much of a starter right now. He can still develop, though. He's young enough that he can still develop. And coming in at number 26, I've got the Pittsburgh Pirates, Ji-hwan Bae. Ji-hwan Bae, another young player, 24 years old, and last year he kind of breaks out in rookie season, 111 games, and he goes for a 231 batting average, 311 slugging, 296 on base. So again, not a great slash line, but he plays good defense, scored 54 runs, hit actually towards the top of their order. I guess that's kind of because the Pirates didn't have a very good lineup to begin with. 17 doubles, just 2 home runs though, and he does steal 24 bags, so he's got some speed, plays good defense. The intangibles are there, and again, he's young enough that he could keep developing. I'm excited to see what he can do going into the 2024 season. And coming in at number 25, the Chicago White Sox veteran second baseman Elvis Andrus. He's more of a shortstop throughout his career, but he moves over to second base with the White Sox to make room for Tim Anderson. And he had a really bad season last year. I mean, there's no way to put it. He hit 250, but just a 304 on base, 358 slugging. A lot of career lows for him as far as the guy only managed to score 39 times. The last time he scored that few of runs outside of COVID was never. He's never scored fewer than 39 runs in his career. He's actually never scored fewer than 50 runs in his career outside of the COVID year. So his production was way down. He hits 6 home runs, 20 doubles, 1 triple, and he still manages to steal 12 bases. I will say that's pretty impressive for a guy who I believe is about 34 years old, and he still has some solid speed. His defense used to be elite. Right now, I would categorize his defense as good. It's definitely not bad, but it's also not the elite defender that he used to be. I think going forward, I would like to see Andrews probably more as a utility role, but it always depends on, what team's willing to give him a chance. And coming in at number 24, we have Oakland A's rookie Zach Gelof. Zach Gelof is a guy who's going to definitely climb these rankings as his career grows. Last season as a rookie, he only played in 70 games. That's why he's low, because again, these are based off of production, not based off of the slash line, not based off of the intangibles. It's based off of how how much did you produce for your team? Zach Geloff, in 70 games, he produced very well, but again, only 70 games. But I think this sample size is pretty accurate of what you're going to see from him next year and moving on into his career. 70 games, or 69 games, 40 runs scored, 20 doubles, 14 home runs, and 32 runs batted in. He also steals 14 bases. He hits 267, 337 on base, 504 slugging. So he's got some speed, he's got some pop, he hits for average, on bases looking good, and he plays good defense. Zach Geloff, he could be a top 10 second baseman by next season. I would not even be surprised at all. Still only 24. He was a rookie last year. I'm very interested to see how he manages to progress throughout his young career. And coming in at number 23, I had the Detroit Tigers veteran second baseman Andy Ibanez. Ibanez, kind of a journeyman throughout the minor leagues, got called up to the Rangers in 2021. Last year, first year with the Tigers, plays 114 games, 42 runs scored, 23 doubles, 11 home runs, 41 runs batted in. He hits 264, 312 on base, 433 slugging. So that's good for a 745 OPS. I've never really heard of Andy Ibanez until last year, but he was a very solid second baseman. He split time with Zach McKinstry at that position. I'm not sure which one of them is going to be the starter going into next season. It might be Ibanez, it might be McKinstry, but for a 30-year-old guy, he's not that bad at all. And coming in now at number 22, we have the Milwaukee Brewers' Bryce Turang. Bryce Turang, a 24-year-old, last season, his rookie year, 137 games, so he got significant volume. Unfortunately for Bryce Turang, the production during those 134 games was not amazing. But it wasn't terrible. He hit 218 at 285 on base, 300 slugging, 6 homers and 9 doubles, 34 runs batted in, 46 runs scored. And here's where Bryce Turang actually did produce a lot, was on the base paths. Bryce Turang stole 26 bases. He also plays a pretty good defense at second base. I think Bryce Turang is going to get a chance to be their everyday second baseman again next season. He was a fairly highly rated prospect at the time, so I feel like Bryce Turang is going to get another chance next year. We'll see if he can improve. I don't know about it. And coming in at number 21, I have Michael Massey of the Kansas City Royals. Michael Massey, another young player in his second season, 25 years old, plays 130 games, 18 doubles, 15 homers, 55 runs batted in, 42 runs scored, good for a 230 average, 274 on base, but a nice looking slugging at 381. Again, good defense, got a little bit of speed, got a little bit of pop in that bat, and I think he can keep improving. I think he can work his way into the top 20 by next season. In his first year as a starter, he looked pretty good. Michael Massey, coming in number 21, just barely missing out on the top 20, but getting the top 20 kicked off, I have the Washington Nationals second baseman, Luis Garcia. So Luis Garcia, kind of a journeyman in the sense that, he's never really got much of a shot at, being able to play every day. But last year, he did get that chance to play every day, and he did pretty okay with it. He's still only 23, so he's young enough that he can keep growing. He's been with the Nationals for 4 seasons, up and down throughout the majors, throughout the minors. His games played last year, still only 120, but that was the most of his career. He goes for 18 doubles, 9 homers, 50 runs batted in, 61 runs scored, and he steals 9 bases. He hits 266, 304 on base, and a 385 slugging. Luis Garcia also really good defensively, and he's young, so he could keep getting better. I'm not sure where he plays into the Nationals as far as, is he a core piece, or is he more of just a guy who's filling in? I'm not sure, but he had a good season, so credit to him. That's Luis Garcia. Coming in now at number 19, I've got the Baltimore Orioles second baseman Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier. How about Adam Frazier? After being with the Mariners, he was not very good, obviously, with the Mariners. He kind of struggled with the Mariners. The Mariners got rid of him. I didn't think they should. I thought they should have kept him around. Obviously, they replaced him with Colton Wong. We all saw how that turned out. Adam Frazier last year with the Orioles, 240 batting average, 300 on base, 396 slugging. He hits 13 homers. That's the most of his career. 21 doubles. That's the third most of his career. 60 runs batted in. That's also the most of his career. And 59 runs scored, the fourth most of his career. So he had a pretty good season. Also steals 11 bases. That's also tied his career high. Adam Frazier played 140 games last year. So Adam Frazier is interesting because he was brought in more as like a stopgap guy. I don't even think the Orioles expected him to play much second base. They thought that was going to be Gunnar Henderson's role last season, but Adam Frazier held down second base, and Jorge Mateo obviously held down shortstop, so Gunnar Henderson ended up being their utility guy last year. Next season, Adam Frazier, he is a free agent, I believe, this offseason, so it'll be interesting to see where he's going to sign, if he's going to sign with somebody, if he's going to get a chance to start, or I'm sure he would be fine in a utility role because he can also play some outfield. Move on to number 18 now. Got the San Francisco Giants second baseman Thairo Estrada. Thairo Estrada, solid player. He's last year probably wasn't his best season. He's played 120 games, 26 doubles, 14 homers, 49 runs batted in, 63 runs scored, hit 270, 315 on base, and a 416 slugging. So he goes for a 731 OPS. Yeah, though that's the third highest OPS of his career, but still, solid season for Thairo Estrada, and another guy who plays good defense. He can move around the infield a little bit, play some third base if you need him to. And he's still fairly young. He's still 27 years old. So he's in the prime of his career. I think Thairo Estrada could have a nice season again next year. And we move on to number 17, the Minnesota Twins second baseman Julian. Edouard Julien, I believe is his name. I'm not sure how to pronounce it actually, but he had a nice season. Edouard Julien, I believe it's Edouard Julien. Edouard Julien had himself a pretty nice season as a rookie last year. Plays 109 games, 16 doubles, 16 home runs, 60 runs, 37 runs batted in. He hits a 263 batting average, 381 on base, 459 slugging for an OPS of 839. So he was very good offensively in about half the season. Again, Julien, pretty solid guy on defense. He has a little bit of pop. He's got some speed. He hits for some decent average. I think he's going to be a really nice second baseman going forward. And obviously, Jorge Polanco last year shifted over to third base to make room for Edouard Julien. So I think Edouard Julien, nice player. And again, pretty young. He's only, I believe, 24 years old. And now just missing out on the top 15. At number 16, I have Brandon Lau of the Tampa Bay Rays. Bit of a down year last year for Brandon Lau. Only 109 games played, but he did good in those 109 games. He still hit 21 home runs, second most of his career, 15 doubles, that's third most of his career, 58 runs scored, 68 runs batted in, hits 230 batting average, 328 on base, 443 slugging, and a 771 OPS. Brandon Lau, I think he's been a little bit overrated. He always seems to miss time due to injuries, and he's getting up there in age, 31 years old. But if he's still in the Rays next season, he's going to be their starter for at least one more year. And let's hope he can stay healthy. He's only put together one full healthy season. That was 2021, but he was an absolute menace in 2021 when he was fully healthy. Getting the top 15 started off, Jose Altuve. Now, this might shock you guys, but again, remember, my rankings are based off of production, so when guys get injured, they're going to fall in the rankings because no matter how good you are, overall, I'm not talking about overall level of how good they are in general. I think overall, Jose Altuve is either the best or maybe second or third best second baseman in the MLB. He's in that very short list. But last season, I'm going off production, only plays 90 games because he did get hurt, missed a big portion of that first half of the season. In those 90 games, though, he was really good. 76 runs, 21 doubles, 17 home runs, 51 runs batted in, stole 14 bases. He hit 311, 393 on base, 522 slugging, and a 915 OPS, which was actually, believe it or not, the fourth highest OPS of his career. He's 33 years old, still plays good defense, still has some speed on the base paths. He still has a little bit of pop in that bat. Not as much as he has shown in years past, but 17 home runs, pretty good. For a guy who early in his career would have been really happy to hit 17. Now you're like 17, his career high is 31, but still good season from Jose Altuve. If he's fully healthy, he's the top 5-6 second baseman in the MLB. And coming in at number 14, I have the Toronto Blue Jays, Whit Merrifield. Whit Merrifield was an all-star last season, but really, I'm not sure if he was really an all-star caliber player. I'm not sure how he made the all-star game because I have him as just the 14th most productive second baseman of last season. So what did Whit Merrifield do last year? Well, he hit 272, 318 on base, 382 slugging for an OPS of exactly 700. Not bad, but really when you look at it, he was just kind of meh. 27 doubles, 11 homers, 67 runs batted in, 66 runs in 145 games. So he got good volume and was pretty average in that volume. But again, kudos to him for coming into Toronto, a new team, and he displaced another all-star because they had Santiago Espinal at second base, who was an all-star in 2022, and then Merrifield comes in, takes over for Espinal, and makes an all-star game himself. But I'm not sure if he really deserved that all-star game, to be honest. Coming in at number 13, I have the Cincinnati Reds, Jonathan India. Jonathan India, 27 years old, and he's interesting because despite being the 13th best second baseman in the league, he might not even be a starter next year. That's how good the Reds' young rookies and prospects are. But Jonathan India last year had a good season. He had 745 OPS, 244 average, 338 on base, and a 407 slugging. He hit 17 homers, 23 doubles, 61 runs batted in, and 78 runs scored, while also stealing 14 bases and playing solid defense at second base. He's not the greatest defensively, but he's solid. He does have some speed. He does have some pop. Former Rookie of the Year. I'm just a little disappointed that he seems like he's never really built on that rookie season. I feel like he's at about the same level as he was when he was a rookie all the way back in 2021. Now he's 27. He's not really improving much, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to really jump into that top 10 discussion, but still a solid season from Jonathan India. And coming in at number 12, the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Gorman. So Nolan Gorman in his second season last year, he hit 236, 328 on base, 478 slugging with an 806 OPS, 27 home runs, 17 doubles, 53 runs batted in, 59 runs scored, and he does it in 120 games. Solid production. The one problem, though, with Nolan Gorman is the dude strikes out a lot. He strikes out 148 times last year in just 119 games, so he's averaging well over 1 strikeout per game. So that does play a role, but he's got good pop. He's got solid batting average, solid on base. I wouldn't say it's elite, but solid. Nolan Gorman's a guy who a lot of people think maybe he can move over to become more of a DH, especially if Brendan Donovan's going to take over second base next year. Nolan Gorman could end up being their DH. I personally think that my favorite team, the Seattle Mariners, should target this guy in a trade because he's young enough he could keep improving. But, however, the things you look at, defensively, not great, and he does have that massive hole, which is that he strikes out a ton. Just missing out on the top 10 from last season, I have the Los Angeles Angels, Brandon Drury, coming in at number 11. He had a really good season last year. 262 batting average, 306 on base, 497 slugging, and an 803 OPS. He hit 26 home runs, second most of his career, 30 doubles, third most of his career. He scored 61 times, second most of his career there, and 83 runs batted in, second most of his career. So Brandon Drury, he's kind of aging really well. 31 years old, and he had basically the second best season that he's ever had in his career, and in pretty much every offensive category, and he managed to do that in only 125 games. So I think if he had played a full season, Drury probably would have been well into my top 10. Just again, the production, 125 games. I'm not going to give that over a guy who played a full season. Brandon Drury, though, really good year for him. I'm excited to see what he can do. I think he's a solid second baseman. And getting the top 10 kicked off, I have the New York Mets second baseman, Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil had a bit of a down year last year, but the one thing you can count on for Jeff McNeil is that he's going to play almost every day, and he's still going to hit for contact. Jeff McNeil, he hit 270 last year, and that was supposedly a down year. If you hit 270, you're a good player. 333 on base, again, not at the levels that he used to be. He used to be at 380, now he's at 333, still solid, and at 378 slugging, so he still ends up with an OPS of 711. Plays 156 games, really good defender. He can play the outfield, he can play third base, he can play second base, he can probably even play a little bit of shortstop. 25 doubles, 10 home runs, 55 runs batted in, and he scores 75 runs, second most runs scored of his career. He does not strike out much at all. Good speed on the base paths, stole 10 bases, and he's 31 years old. So I think Jeff McNeil, solid player, not his best season of his career, but still a very good year for Jeff McNeil. And coming in at number 9, I've got the Cleveland Guardians, Andres Gimenez. Andres Gimenez, he was an all-star in 2022, took a bit of a step back in 2023, but not really. He had a good year, 153 games, 76 runs scored, that's a career high, 27 doubles, career high there as well, 5 triples, that was a career high, 15 homers, that's 2 less than in 2022, 62 runs batted in, second most of his career there, and he steals 30 bases, which was 10 more than his career high, so he set quite a few career highs. His one drawback, though, he only hit 251, which was significantly lower than he did in 2022. On base was also down at 314 and slugging at 399. So he goes for an OPS of 713. So it wasn't his best slash line, but he put up solid numbers and he produced really well, I thought, for the Guardians. He also plays good defense. He's got some speed, got some pop. He's an all-around good player at second base. And again, only 25 years old. He could definitely continue to improve as his career goes on. And coming in at number 8, and I know this is going to be controversial, Luis Arias of the Miami Marlins. I have him at number 8. I know he almost, not almost, but I know he was in the mix to have that 400 batting average, but okay, the batting average fell off, only hits 354, 393 on base, 469 slugging, and an 862 OPS. So that's a really good slash line, I will admit that. However, there's definitely some holes in his game. Power, not really. He did hit 10 home runs, 30 doubles, solid, 3 triples. Not very fast though, only 3 stolen bases, and his defense is not very good. Luis Arias' defense is pretty bad, so maybe it feels like I'm ripping on him. I'm just trying to justify why I ranked him at number 8. He did score 71 runs, knocked in 69, and the 354 batting average is obviously impressive. He's definitely had to be in my top 10, but I feel like number 8 is about as high as I would have gone with him. There's an argument to put him at 7, but next up, number 7, Bryson Stott of the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies fans are going to love me for this one, but Bryson Stott, I thought he had a really good season last year. I don't know what, guys like Draftnik Mark, I just saw his second base rankings the other day. He has Bryson Stott at number 19, and I think that's a really, really low for him. And Bryson Stott, 151 games, 32 doubles, 15 homers, 62 runs batted in, 78 runs scored. He hit 280, 329 on base, and a 419 slugging. That's good for a 748 OPS. I thought, and he also plays elite defense, and he stole 31 bases. So he's elite defensively, he's elite on the base paths, and he hits for good average, and has some pop in that bat as well. I don't see any holes in this guy's game other than the fact that he does, I don't even know, he doesn't strike out that much. He could walk more. I'll admit that. He could get that on base percentage up if he walked a little more often, but he's got the contact, he's got the power, he's got the defense, he's got the speed, he's got some versatility, he can play shortstop, second base, he can move around the diamond. I love Bryson Stott, actually, and he's only 26, and again, he's going to keep getting better, I think. And just missing out on the top 5, I have the number 6 ranked second baseman, Gleyber Torres of the New York Yankees. Gleyber Torres is, I think, one of the most criminally underrated players in baseball. The reason he gets to be underrated is because the New York media doesn't think he's any good, but I'm telling you right now, he's good. Gleyber Torres last year only missed 4 games. He's very durable, very consistent. 90 runs scored. That's the second most of his career. 28 doubles, tied his career high. 25 home runs, second most of his career. 68 runs batted in, third most of his career. 67 walks, that was by far the most of his career, and it gives him a slash line that looks like this. 273 batting average, second highest of his career. 347 on base, second highest of his career. 453 slugging, second highest of his career. And an 800 OPS, that was the second highest of his career. So he had the second best year of his career in 2023, and still people will hate on Gleyber Torres. He also plays good defense. He can play some shortstop. He plays second base really well, I think. He's got some solid speed, 13 stolen bases, also a career high in stolen bases. I think Gleyber Torres is a very good second baseman, and he showed that last season with the New York Yankees. And we kick off the top 5 with breakout star San Diego Padres Ha-Seong Kim. Ha-Seong Kim, at 28 years old in his 3rd season, he broke out last season and was incredible. 260 batting average, 351 on base, 398 slugging, 17 homers, 23 doubles. He steals 38 bases. That was really, really good. Really, really fast on the base paths. And he winds up knocking in 60 runs while scoring 84 times. He also is probably the best defensive second baseman in baseball, so that does contribute a lot to my rankings. If you're talking just offense, he's probably below a couple of the guys who I have below him. He's probably below Gleyber and probably below Luis Arias as well if you're talking just offense. But Ha-Seong Kim's defensive WAR, I believe, was the highest among any infielder in the game last season. He is just that good at defense. He can play shortstop as well, second base. I'm sure if you asked him to play third, he would be great at third base as well. Ha-Seong Kim is just an all-around really, really good player, and the Padres kind of found him out of nowhere. Really, really impressive, and he had a career year offensively last year as well. So Ha-Seong Kim at number 5, but coming in at number 4, at the Chicago Cubs, Nico Hoerner. Nico Hoerner was great in 2023. He was great. 150 games, just 9 homers, but 27 doubles, 4 triples, 68 runs batted in, and he scored 98 runs, so he just misses out on being part of the 100 runs scored club. A batting average of 283, really, really solid there. 346 on base, 383 slugging, and 729 OPS, and again, solid defensively, and again, really, really fast player. You see, a lot of these second basemen steal a ton of bases. 43 stolen bases. I believe that's the most out of any second baseman all season. So really, really good production out of Nico Hoerner last season. I'm excited to see how he can grow because he's in his 5th year, still only 26. So he's just now entering those prime years of his career. Nico Hoerner, really good player. But kicking off the top three, I could not take Ketel Marte out of my top three. Ketel Marte was so good last year, and again, he gets underrated just because he plays in Arizona. Well, I'm here to tell you that Ketel Marte is a really, really good ball player. 150 games, he hits 26 doubles, 25 home runs, 9 triples. That's actually not his career high, believe it or not. 71 walks, that is a career high. 82 runs batted in, that's second most of his career, and he scores 94 runs, second most of his career as well. Slash line is good, 276 average, 358 on base, 485 slugging, 843 OPS. So he has a good slash line, good counting stats, really good production, plays good defense, still has some solid speed, stole 8 bases. Ketel Marte is the real deal. He is the full package at second base for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Really, really good player, and I think he's going to continue to be really, really good going forward. We've seen him play at an MVP level. He's still only 30 years old. In the postseason, he was absolutely elite. I don't take in the postseason to account on my rankings, but if you did account that, he might even be considering for number 1 overall, because Ketel Marte has the longest postseason hit streak ever out of any player of all time. Longest postseason hit streak. That's pretty cool for him to be able to say that. So Ketel Marte, really, 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 really good player, and I wish my Seattle Mariners never traded him away. But coming in at number 2, you cannot deny this, Ozzy freaking Albies. Ozzy Albies is, again, kind of underrated, I feel like, but in 2023, he bounced back from an injury-marred 2022. In 2023, he was elite. 148 games, 30 doubles, 33 home runs, so he's got really good pop, 5 triples as well, 109 runs batted in, so he produced really, really well in the clutch. 96 runs scored, almost was part of the 100-100 club there. 280 batting average, 336 on base, 513 slugging, and an 849 OPS. So he's really good offensively. He was fairly solid defensively. He's not an elite defender, but he's good defensively. 13 steals. He's got some speed. He's got some pop. Really good pop. He's probably the best power hitting second baseman in the league. Maybe not, maybe the second best. We'll get to the best shortly. But Ozzy Albies just had a really, really good season. And again, he kind of gets underrated because despite being the second best second baseman in the league, he was probably the 5th best guy in that Braves offense, which just speaks to how good the Braves offense really is. But we have, finally, number 1, Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers. Marcus Semien, it's hard to argue against Marcus Semien for number 1. Number 1, he was just rated number 1 on the All-MLB team, and Marcus Semien absolutely deserves it. He goes for a 276 batting average, 348 on base, 478 slugging for an 826 OPS, 100 runs batted in, leads all second basemen with 122 runs scored, 40 doubles, most for any second baseman, 29 home runs, 4 triples, 14 stolen bases, and still manages to play really good defense at the position as well. Marcus Semien, really good free agent signing, completely, absolutely paid off for the Texas Rangers. As a Mariners fan, it kills me to put him at number 1, but I have to do it. Marcus Semien, really, really good player. In his age 34 season, in his age 33 season, he was the best second baseman in the MLB in 2023. So to recap, number 1, Marcus Semien, number 2, Ozzy Albies, number 3, Ketel Marte, number 4, Nico Horner, number 5, Ha-Seong Kim, number 6, Gleyber Torres, number 7, Bryson Stott, number 8, Luis Arias, number 9, Andres Jimenez, and at number 10, I have Jeff McNeil. Just missing out in the top 10 was Brandon Drury and Brendan Donovan. Nolan Gorman. So that is my top 12, my top 30 second baseman in the MLB in 2023. If you like this video, make sure you like it. Subscribe to the channel for more. Tomorrow, we'll be coming out with our third base rankings. Then it'll be shortstops after that. We've already put out first base and catcher. So if you want to see those, you should obviously go to the channel and check those videos out. I'm very proud of them. I put a lot of work into these rankings, put a lot of work into editing these videos for you guys, so I hope you all appreciate it, enjoy. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments why you disagree, and argue against my philosophy, because my philosophy is I'm ranking these guys not based off of talent, not based off of skill, not based off of slash line, but I'm ranking them based off of how good were they in just 2023, and how much production did they give to their team in 2023. That's what I'm ranking on. I'm not ranking on, guys who got injured. That's why they're going to fall, because they got injured. And again, I've said this before, in the preseason and during spring training, I'm going to put out rankings based off of skill and talent. So if you'd rather see those, wait around till spring training and you'll get to see how I feel about them just based off of skill, talent, ability to grow, age, versatility, all that kind of stuff will be factored in my spring rankings. But these rankings are just based off of the 2023 season alone. And yes, I did factor in injuries, but if you still disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me know who you think should be higher, who you think should be lower, who am I disrespecting, who am I not giving enough respect to. Let me know all of that in the comments. I want to hear it. I want to respond. I want to reply. I want to have argumentative discussions, healthy argumentative discussions, of course. And yeah, awesome. Thank you all for watching. This is Coast to Coast Sports, and we will see you guys in the next one.